Happy Easter. Let's close our eyes for a moment. Okay, slowly come back. Okay, it's lesson 13. We have Ajna Chakra. Today, actually, lesson 13, we go through a transition which was initiated with lesson 11 and 12, discussing asana, but then discussing the aspect of energy. We're now going to switch towards energy. We will learn, you have learned already a little bit what energy is about. We discussed prana, of course, but throughout, from the beginning, throughout, I've kind of drawn your attention towards it. From lesson 19, we are going to practice pranayama. Prana is vital energy, mistakenly thought of as breath. So pranayama is practiced as breathing exercises, which I will prove to be wrong in lesson 19. And through today, lesson 13 through to lesson 19, we will do kriya exercises that are in fact a preparation for pranayama. Pranayama is not breath control, it's energy control. And it really works. But if you're not properly initiated, guided towards the day that you actually start controlling energy, it's impossible. It's difficult even to imagine that it is possible for the individual, for the student. So there's a very systematic, gradual approach towards that. Today we make an important step forward with the introduction of the first kriya exercise. First, however, we have Ajna Chakra again. We discussed Ajna Chakra in lesson 3 because Ajna Chakra is crucial in all that we do. So today, except the Kriya exercises being new, we also start discussing the chakras, and we don't start with the chakra at the bottom, Muladhara, which is the subject for the afternoon. We start with the most important one. The key to everything that we do is Ajna Chakra. So you maybe remember in lesson 3, I called Ajna Chakra the boss, the general, the commander-in-chief. Why? Because Ajna Chakra, we have an expression in the English language that says mind over matter. That is this. Mind over matter means Ajna Chakra can overrule what is happening in the chakras below. All the chakras below are responsible for lower and higher emotions and desires. It is the lower and the higher emotions and desires that are responsible for our suffering in life, that are responsible for our impulses that we often don't control until it is too late. It is our impulses that are responsible for our instability, for our failures, often also distraction. So developing Ajna Chakra, which with our modern education is done through theoretical study, but then overshooting the goal, developing Ajna Chakra is crucial in taking control of what? Everything. Control of our lives, control of our future, even control of our past. It is responsible for taking control of those emotions and desires that often, when uncontrolled, always lead to conflict, internal and external, misery, suffering, doubt, fear, all the negatives that we are dealing with in life. Our most important tool and the most important goal of yoga is not asana, it's meditation. Asana is only designed to prepare you for meditation. Even better, if you practice asana correctly, your meditation already starts. If you practice asana standing still properly, according to the meaning of the word, asana literally means standing still posture, and in silence, without distractions from music or other devices or people, you will see that even if you have no time for meditation and you practice only asana, your energy is here. You feel meditative. You feel that you are in an observation mood that otherwise doesn't happen very often in life, in daily life. Everything is energy. And the functioning of Ajna Chakra depends on the condition that you are in. Which condition? We have tamas, rajas, and sattva. Sattva is harmony. In harmony, Shiva and Shakti are in balance, yin and yang are in balance, and it is in that condition that the chakras function optimal. In Ajna Chakra, that means that your intellect is working very well. You are in an observation mood. Your intuition, in Korean, chitkam, your intuition becomes activated. If sattva is lacking, the intellect is not functioning so well. Intuition is very low or non-existent. Why is intuition so important? Because intuition gives us insight. Intuition gives us deep understanding of things that otherwise seem very difficult to understand. So I mentioned before, when you are dealing with a big issue, a big problem, and it gives you sleepless nights, headaches, lots of stress, worry, doubt, fear, what have you. The harder you try to solve the problem mentally, by thinking, rationalizing, the more far away the solution seems to be, the more complex the issue seems to become. But in a moment of sattva, in a moment, a quiet moment, which in normal people's daily lives happens occasionally by coincidence, in the yogi's life it happens because of meditation, especially in your meditation, but it becomes second nature if you practice regularly. Throughout your daily life, it occurs all the time. You become reflective. You become capable of seeing the law of cause and effect. So you quickly connect the dots. But this does not happen as long as you keep trying to solve the problem mentally. In a moment of sattva, you detach from it all. You just let it go. You take a deep breath, and suddenly the insight is there without any effort. If you watch cartoons or read cartoons, you see the character in the book, in the cartoon, with a light bulb above their head that the light goes on. And that is literally what happens. All the energy is here, the light goes on. Suddenly, just like that, in a moment of nothing, the solution is there. Technically, what happened is sattva occurred. In daily life, it sometimes happens by coincidence. I would almost say by accident, because sattva is very rare if we don't take control of energy, if we don't take control of our circumstances and condition. But with your yoga practice, you become more and more meditative, which is the result of sattva, and it leads you to develop a quality you maybe already have, but that quality extends enormously. It is the quality of becoming a problem solver, a troubleshooter. You learn that the best way to solve a problem is not to dive into it, but to detach from it. There are many ways to do that, but the most powerful way in the beginning is, of course, to create this new condition through meditation. In the beginning, you may notice that it happens only in meditation, but it becomes a new condition. You meditate fairly regularly, a couple of times a week, maybe almost every day. The more the better. Simple as that. As a result, that condition not only occurs when you meditate, it more and more occurs in your normal daily life activities. Mind over matter. Emotions, desires, fears, doubts, worries, they all occur subconsciously. We just end up with stress, restlessness, unhappy. And we act and react based on impulses. And it almost always leads to regret, to conflict, doubt. So how nice would it be if the subconscious becomes conscious? If you see, not with your physical eyes, but through observation, what is happening inside you. So before you act in an impulse, you have already concluded, consciously, not subconsciously, consciously, hey, I am struck by an emotion. Instead of acting, reacting, you ask yourself, why is this emotion arising? What happened that made this emotion appear? It is trying to tell me something. Acting, reacting, or acting in a reactive way leads to more disharmony. But if you have the ability to put into practice mind over matter, Ajna Chakra, overruling the lower chakras, which is based on pure consciousness inside, before you act and react, you try to make some concrete information. We say you make chocolate out of it. You try to make some concrete information out of what you experience, what you feel. And with that, the emotion fades away. Emotions are your teacher, but you only have to learn to listen to your teacher. Emotion is not designed to make you miserable. Yes, misery occurs, but it's like pushing the bell. It is an alarm. You push the bell not to make noise, you push the bell to draw attention. So the emotion arising, leading to a sense of pain or misery, That is like a bell ringing that says, hey, pay attention. There is something happening in or around you that needs attention. You don't give it attention, your misery will grow. You give it attention before reacting in an impulse, and you make it go away and you grow. You develop insight. This is the power of Ajna Chakra, but Ajna Chakra in Sattva. Because if there is no Sattva, harmony, Ajna Chakra doesn't function that well. Of course it functions when there is Rajas or Tamas, but it functions in a different way. When Ajna Chakra is in Rajas, which means that Shakti energy is dominating, you have the ability to create. You have the ability to function based on thought, mental activity. There is, to a certain extent, mind control, thought control in the condition of Rajas. So Rajas condition in Ajna Chakra is not bad. The reality is when there is Sattva, there is always some fluctuating going on between Tamas and Rajas. Because 100% Sattva without any Rajas or Tamas fluctuation, there is nothing. So there are always some fluctuations. But the main condition should be Sattva, with sometimes a little bit of Rajas, sometimes a little bit of Tamas. Because what you do when you have a realization, in Sattva, you have to make it concrete knowledge. You have to draw a rational conclusion. And for that you need a little Rajas, a little Shakti domination in the Sattva. If there is sheer Rajas, sheer Shakti domination, the intuition is not working, you have in fact a powerful person that has no moral compass. You can see examples of this in politics. There are politicians, very wise, very intelligent, but also with a moral compass. There are also politicians that are very streetwise, smart, big ball of energy, big ego, no moral compass. So it leads to a lot of conflict. But Sattva with a little bit of Rajas, that is what we're looking for. When there is Tamas in Ajna Chakra, it leads to uncontrolled thought flow. The opposite of Rajas. Rajas, thought flow, but you can steer it, you can manipulate it, you can point it, focus it to where you want to go with your thought process. Creation is possible. With Tamas, you end up in a dark spiral going down. Negative thought, depression. One of the biggest problems of mankind is in fact depression. Negative thought. Lots of doubt, worry, etc. about the future. That is a Tamas condition. When you are suffering from that condition, mental condition, depression, if it is not clinical, don't go to a doctor and ask for Valium or another depressant. What do you call it? Medicine antidepressant, those kind of medicines that these days very widely issued to patients, because that oppresses the depression, but it doesn't correct the condition. So your problem will come back, but it will come back with a vengeance usually. Usually when people stop with the medicine, actually their depression got bigger. Doesn't go away. What you need is to change the condition. Once you understand that these mental conditions are in fact caused by an underlying energy condition, a disharmony in fact between Tamas and between Shiva and Shakti, and you understand how it works, you can then correct your condition. actually when you sit down on your cushion. No, when you stand on your mat and you do some exercises in the correct way, by standing still, by observing non-violence and the other yamas and niyamas. Already you notice that you become calm and peaceful. Calm and peaceful equals sattva. If you feel bad, if you are depressed, sad, all these conditions that are related to tamas, which is domination of Shiva energy, you need to do something that generates Shakti, but you know that too much Shakti is also not good, and yoga is the perfect method, because it's very measured and controlled, to add some Shakti, destroying the negativity, destroying the cycle going down, depression, and it leads then to sattva. Simple asana practice done correctly makes your tamas condition go away, and you already feel a lot better. If on top of that you have some time to meditate, even better. But energy control already started from lesson 1, where you stood still in Tadasana and Vriksasana and Uddita Trikonasana. And you felt it, but I couldn't explain it to you yet at that time. You had to gradually start to get used to that feeling, and then the feeling can be explained in a technical way. Serious yoga generally is made too complicated by most yoga teachers, with lots of theory, lots of dogma and mystery. Actually, it's really simple. So when you feel you need yoga, I feel that need all the time, especially when I end up in some trouble, conflict. I always think, I should practice yoga. Just do something. Just do a tree pose. Just do a forward bend or a back bend. It immediately works. Much better than a pill. But if you think about it, and you start to think in a very complicated, oh, I have to meditate, and oh, it's so complicated, then you're never going to get anywhere. Just do something simple. Tadasana, Vriksasana, Uddita Trikonasana. So nice. Very addictive. Once you try, especially when you feel low, when you feel down, and you notice the magical effect that such a simple exercise has on you, you'll be sold for the rest of your life. And you become not just as passionate about yoga, proper yoga, traditional yoga, as I am. At the bottom of page 2, you see the last 3 paragraphs. The third paragraph from the bottom is about the last paragraph, just 3 sentences, about healing. The energy in Ajna Chakra is called Sukshma Prana. Sukshma Sharira is a body. There are 3 bodies. Sukshma Sharira is the mental body. The typical energy responsible for the functioning of the mental body is Sukshma Prana. The Sukshma Prana we use for healing. You know Reiki? Leda started doing a course, giving a course, Reiki, online. Reiki is healing with the hands. Now, if you pay attention, during your exercises, especially when you use your arms, or in your meditation where your hands are on your knees, you feel energy in your arms. Not in your neck, not in your belly, or maybe there too, but usually in your arms. The arms are very strong conductors of energy, and healing is then done with the hand. But healing is not just a matter of using your hands. First of all, through a certain practice, which can be yoga, but it can be something else. It can be Tai Chi, Qigong, or in Korea you have various different kinds of practices, spiritual practices. First you need to build energy. To heal, that energy must be relatively sattvic. And it is not the hands that are important, it is your concentration power that is important. Actually, the principle of praying is based on mind power. If you pray correctly, most people don't because they don't understand all this. But if you pray correctly, it is through concentration, mind power. And for this reason, I included an additional handout. It's called Pregnant Through Prayer. I got this from a medical, a Dutch medical magazine that is, what do you call it? It's exclusive to doctors. All people involved in medicine, they kind of receive that kind of magazine. It's a magazine purely limited to the medical world, medical development, etc. So one day I found this article in Dutch, and I read it and I thought, this is very interesting. This is about Ajna Chakra. This is about real healing. Okay, what is it about? There was in Korea, in the Cha hospital, which is very famous for IVF treatment, women who find it, or couples I should say, couples who find it difficult to conceive, to get pregnant, they can get help from the Cha hospital in Seoul. So this started as an experiment to disprove the power of healing. You know, scientists generally are very skeptical. Scientists are the doubting Thomases in the world. All of us are, but scientists, they say, if I can't put it in statistics, if I can't rationalize the process of what is happening, it doesn't exist. Things that you understand through intuition in Ajna Chakra, through observation, that for you undoubtedly are correct, are true. Scientists, if they cannot put it in statistics, if they can't make it concrete, they will just say, well, it doesn't exist. So that is the general tendency in scientific circles. The reason why this article, I tried to translate it as genuinely as possible. If you have read it, you feel that it's actually very cynical. They make a joke out of it. What happened? Let me get the numbers straight. I think they had 200 people, 199 women, and they divided them in two groups. So let's say 100. For one group of women, for 100 women, they asked people in Korea to pray. Or is it in Korea? I think in Korea. Then they asked another group in another country, I think in America. No, wait, US, Canada, and Australia. So they asked a group of people to pray for them in America. They asked another group of people in Canada to support the first group that is praying for them, and then they asked another group, a third group, to support the other two groups with prayer. What happened is that out of the first group for whom was prayed, 50% became pregnant, succeeded to become pregnant. The second group, the placebo group, only 25% became pregnant. 26%. That is such a huge discrepancy, such a huge difference. They had hoped that the difference would be just 2 or 3%, and then it's very easy to rationalize it away. See, it doesn't exist. Because there's always an error margin that is usually 1 or 2%. But the margin of difference is half, is 100%. 50% of one group became pregnant, the other group only 25%. A scientist is afraid to lose their credibility. So they turned it into a joke. But knowing what we know, these results are there, it exactly works like that. But because it is subtle, and you can put it in statistics, but because the percentages are there, the numbers are there, but you can't explain. How do you explain energy? How do you explain the power of thought being responsible for people functioning in a certain way that they otherwise fail to do? Becoming pregnant in this case. But this is an indication of the power of Ajna Chakra. You as a yoga practitioner, I mentioned it before, like the way that I handle the people that live in my apartment block and how I dealt with a family before I came to Korea. Your presence, your sattva, changes people's condition, not only in your direct vicinity, but this project also proved on the other side of the globe, on the other side of the world. If people think about you, it has an effect on you. Do you feel it? No. But you become pregnant. In this case, it's energy. Yes, not Neda?
May I add something in this?
Yes, if you keep it short.
So last weekend there was a world peace meditation.
Yeah.
Where around 1 million people participated, and right after that meditation was world peace and for Mother Earth and for transcending coronavirus. And after that, the Schumann resonancy of the Earth's frequency, it rose from its original 7.83 hertz to 76 hertz.
Okay.
Which is another example of what Ron says, how when many people with one pointed focus meditate with the same meditation, the effect is exponential.
Yes, you can notice when you are in class. When you are in class and all of us do effort to meditate, meditations are often much more intense than when you practice meditation alone at home. You reinforce each other in that way. In the same way, once a year, somewhere on a beach, thousands of people gather in circles and they meditate for an hour. For world peace, just for the good of mankind. You can laugh about it, you can make jokes about it, but actually on a subtle level it's very powerful. Thank you, Neda.
Thank you.
Okay, so that is Ajna Chakra. Ajna Chakra, we work with Ajna Chakra in our meditation. How does it work? It's a model. You know that the chakras, it's still the core. In the body, the chakras are not inside each other. they start at the bottom and going up the spine, and the last one is outside, just above the head, which often in paintings, old paintings of holy people, always have a halo around the head, which is a symbol for energy being present here. Ajna chakra and the crown chakra being functional. So here you have Ajna chakra. The principle that Ajna chakra overrules, or can overrule if you train Ajna chakra to that purpose, or can overrule the chakras below, is expressed in this model, symbolic. Throat chakra, heart chakra, fire center, the water center, and the lowest chakra at the bottom, Muladhara. What this model means is that whatever takes place in the lower chakras can be overruled by Ajna chakra. This also means, and this is very interesting, if you meditate and bring about sattva in Ajna chakra, all the other chakras become sattvic. That sattva trickles down as a result of the sympathy phenomenon. But it doesn't work the other way around. If you create sattva in the lowest chakra, it doesn't go up all the way to Ajna chakra or the crown chakra. That is why we told you this story about Aurobindo Ghosh. I think that is also lesson 3, who said he is said to have brought back the ancient way of meditation, which is what we do, starting in Ajna chakra, because over time the real meaning had gotten lost and people started meditating on other chakras. Muladhara chakra or the heart chakra. Even these days people are still, there are groups of spiritual communities that are focusing on the heart chakra. It's not bad, but if you focus only on a chakra below Ajna chakra, you create harmony in that one chakra, but you create disharmony between the chakras. While if you concentrate, meditate in Ajna chakra, you bring about sattva harmony in Ajna chakra, and it trickles down equally to all the chakras below. What is this about? This is about holistic development. So you create harmony overall, and not only in one of the chakras. And how do you cultivate Ajna chakra? You know that already. With nada. You control thought with nada. You bring about a certain harmony with your asana practice. And you notice that nada starts to become clear. Nada is pure energy. It shows that your asana practice leads to energy rising, the Kundalini effect. Symbolically, we say nada is in the center. And that is where we concentrate. It's not in the center. Nada is in and around the head. It's an energy field. A ball of energy approximately 60 centimeters wide. But for the purpose of meditation, concentration, we project nada in the center of our head. We project nada in the center. And we focus on that center. In meditation, you do not allow yourself to think about what you're going to have for lunch, or the friends that you are going to meet tonight after class, or the worries that you have because of your job, or because of family affairs, or a conflict that you had yesterday with somebody. Of course it is there, but you try to detach from it. It's not easy, it's very powerful. How do you do that? Nada, and then every time you are distracted by some thought or a feeling, denying the thought or the feeling, simply going back to nada. And you do that again and again and again. And that is basically what you do in the duration of your meditation. In the beginning, you're very busy doing this time and time again, every few seconds. Some thought comes up, some memory, some feeling, some emotion. Before you started practicing yoga, this just happened unconsciously, subconsciously, just daily life, subconscious functioning. But now it becomes more and more conscious. And the moment that you are conscious of the feeling, of the thought, of the distraction, you step in. Ajna Chakra is the commander-in-chief. Ajna Chakra is the boss. You step in, mind control, and you say, no. You deny the thought, detach from the thought, and you go back to nada. So in the beginning, that is a struggle. If you continue to practice meditation, it becomes second nature. It becomes very natural. It allows you, next time when confronted with a sudden emotion, a burst of emotion, which happens in our interactions with the outside world all the time, you have the ability to be aware of it, that it is happening, and then to detach from it and not allow it to control you, leading to a conflict, leading to other emotions. So, meditation is not a luxury. It has a huge implications in terms of changing our daily lives, in changing our happiness and well-being. You know, many people in spiritual circles, they only pretend to be happy by smiling a lot and hugging a lot. You know, the hippie style spirituality. It's very nice and very interesting, but it's not real. We are all real people, and the only way to come to such a sense of well-being and happiness is by eliminating what causes it. Not by just pretending to be very nice. I have met many people like that. On the surface, they are pretending to be very nice, very spiritual, but when suddenly something happens, their true nature comes out. They're not in control. It's really in your meditation. Regular practice of yoga, possibly including meditation, leading to this profound change in the way that you function. And the most important transformation that is taking place is subconsciousness turning into consciousness. Impulses, impulsive behavior, reactive functioning turning into calculated, controlled reaction, behavior, and totally changes your life. This is the reason why Ajna Chakra is so important, why we call it the boss or the commander-in-chief. It's already cultivated in you in a kind of uncontrolled way with 20 odd years of very systematic education. It is the reason why your government has made education compulsory. In Holland, if you don't go to school, your parents get a fine. And if still you don't go to school, it can end up one day your parents have to go to prison if they keep you out of school. The government understands very well the importance of cultivation of Ajna Chakra, because it means you become a better citizen that leads to less conflict in society as a whole. But modern education has overshot the goal. It's still good, don't get me wrong. Like any exercise is good, education is good. But because it overshoots the goal, it often does not lead to the qualities that we are talking about, intuition, vision, wisdom, unconditional love, etc., which are qualities in the higher chakras. So the world is full of people, they're either very emotional and uncontrolled, or they are very theoretic and very rational. The unbelieving scientist, for example. With yoga, we are in the middle, and we take from both worlds. We use our emotions to learn, to grow, and to take control. Then we use our rational powers to take that control, to make that happen. So in every sense, there is a balance. There is a holistic development. I think I mentioned before, maybe at the open day, the orientation workshop, there are people who are illiterate, people who cannot read or write. And when you talk with them, they're very wise. They have deep insight in life, in people's psychology, etc., behavior. But they can't read or write, they can't read books, etc. You ask yourself, where does that come from? That is sheer intuition. There are also people with degrees, 2, 3, 4 degrees. They have an enormous amount, an enormous wealth of theoretical knowledge. But just theoretical knowledge. No insight, no wisdom. When you come into a conversation with those people, you feel every time like bumping into a brick wall, because they are very rigid in their knowledge. There is no flexibility for different points of view, different angles of perception. The ideal is, of course, to have both qualities. The quality of intuition of the illiterate person combined with the theoretical power of rationality of the educated person. What do you get? Genius. Both together results in genius. So genius is not something that you learn from a book. Actually, if you study people of genius people, you see that they are very eccentric. You see that they have natural spiritual tendencies. No surprise, because spirituality is natural occurrence of energy in Ajna Chakra and the Crown Chakra. So like it or not, energy comes there. You may claim to be an atheist. I claim to be an atheist, or claimed for many years, but I'm a believer by default, but in a very sophisticated way. That is why I'm very careful talking about God, because I do not want you to think of that concept as in a dogmatic way. So I explained very extensively about the universe, about everything having a cause and an effect, everything having a reason and a purpose. And once you see that, your life will change forever. Ajna Chakra is crucial in all of this, don't forget. And that is the real value of what you're doing here. Yeah? Okay. We have another subject, a Kriya, that requires some introduction also. So I'd like to keep it at this for Ajna Chakra. We have a short break. Then we do asana practice. And then, before the meditation, because Kriya becomes part of the meditation, before the meditation we discuss Kriya separately. Okay? Let's have a short break.